I'm Megan.
And I'm Kira, and we're the voices behind Two People, One Question.
Our question today is, what do humans strive for?
And our bonus question today is, how did we start our channel?
So, all humans have a goal, object, or thing that keeps them moving through life. It's something that they work towards, something that they want more than anything else in the world.
This gives them the purpose of living and working, just going through life.
To strive for means to make great efforts to achieve or gain something. For means to make great efforts to achieve or gain something. For means to make great efforts to achieve or gain something. So you'll do anything to get that object.
Mm-hmm. So these things can be an emotion or an object. And in today's podcast, we'll kind of be discussing the different things that we as humans strive for.
So before we get into what normal humans just generally strive for, what do you think you strive for, Kira?
Oh, here's a little tidbit about me. Perfection, which is it sounds kind of broad because it is. Megan knows me very well. She's just perfection in all grades, perfection behavior. Because we are currently still in school, so anything in school, perfect. I've mentioned in almost every video because my entire life I'm a dancer, a musical theatre person. So anything I do in that vicinity, perfection. So, Megan, what do you strive for?
Mine's a bit different from yours from what I was thinking, but generally, I wouldn't say this a year ago, but generally when I found out how much I do care for the people I do care about, I want to make those people happy from what I've seen now. You're not speaking.
I know, I'm just so surprised. I did not expect that from you. I didn't know what I was really expecting, but that's nice. Yeah, but like you say, that has probably changed since, I guess, a while ago.
Within the past year, I've realised how much I do care for people, more than what I normally show.
Yeah, so that is a little point I want to pick up on, is that what you're striving for can definitely change and develop as you go through life. So, and also often you can achieve something, so you'll strive for a new thing. You'll never not be striving for something. There will always be something, even if you're not aware of it. There will be something.
However, although what you strive for can change quite regularly, normally what you strive for can last over a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on to different types of things that humans strive for. So these can be different emotions, different objects. And the first one we're going to talk about is a general one that many people think about when they think of this subject is money. So the human economy is built upon money, so it's natural for humans to want to gain it. So basically the whole world revolves around money nowadays.
Yep. So basically everybody wants money because it means you can have other things. So if someone says, what do you strive for? Money's quite an easy, almost cop-out thing to say, because if you have money, you can get other things in life.
Yeah, but having money doesn't always mean that you want it to get other things. So having money also can give a sense of purpose to a person.
Yeah, and it also could give a sense of stability. Is if you have money, you don't, because so much stress in adults is about finance and about money. And it's that's 90% of the stress that people have is about money. So it gives people a sense of stability if you have the money and you don't need to stress about it.
Although money can't be placed on a definitive date, historians believe that money could date back around 5000 BC, so that's a very long time ago.
Definitely, because we've always needed a form of currency to trade things and gain things, because even as cavemen, people would trade things. If you'd built some spears or something, I'll give you this animal I've killed in exchange for your spear. People would exchange things, and that built up to form currency and money as we know it today.
Yeah, so using money is basically just an easier way of trading because you've worked for that thing, and that thing is easily traded for other objects.
Yeah.
And money can make someone feel accomplished because they've had to work towards it. Well, most of the time you have to work towards it.
Yeah, some cases there are people born into money, which does have quite a bit of the time. Some people are born into money, but most of the time you will have to work for it in some form. So it kind of gives people a sense of, like you said, accomplishment.
Yeah, and normally someone who strives for money and seeing something like a £20 note on the floor and just picking it up, that isn't gonna exactly satisfy them because they want something more. They want something bigger.
Yeah. So they want the feeling that having money gives them. Another type of emotion that money could give someone is power. Giving them a sense of power. So because they don't have to worry about finance, and they can just kind of buy whatever they want.
Yeah, and striving for money is typically seen in older people, because as children you're relatively like given whatever you want, and as you grow older and older, you'll see how much money is worth, and you'll want it more and more. So generally everyone wants some amount of money, and that's just generally to get something that they want.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next sort of example we have of things people strive for, which is relationships with people. So meeting the right person can make someone feel comforted and safe, and really you can't disregard the goodness that comes from relationships with other human beings.
Yeah, there are many different emotions that you feel with friends. These can be anything from loved, you can feel trusted, you can feel like you can trust someone else, and you can feel like just happy in their vicinity.
So relationships with people are so complex and have so many details about them, so it would be difficult to kind of discuss all of that in just a small segment, but I'd be able to do a full podcast on that. So if you guys want to see that, then please leave a comment below and like this video. But
we've already done that, I think.
Have we?
Yeah, we've done why do people have relationships.
We have done that, but if you guys want, I just don't remember the things that we've done, apparently.
Yeah, but relationships are extremely complex. You can't just say relationship, and even though most people will get what you mean, you can't completely explain it well.
Yeah, and when we say relationship with people, we don't even mean romantic relationships for most of the time. It's friendships, relationships in families, it's anything that is two people will have a relationship the second they've met.
Yeah, and it could even be with a negative relationship, such as someone you dislike or are enemies with. Of course, when you're around them, you don't necessarily feel good all the time, but
sometimes it makes you feel better because you have a person to outlet your emotions on.
Yeah, which isn't always a good thing to do that to.
But I do it anyway.
Yeah, and that's very annoying to me. But it can be any kind of relationship, really. Just relationships with people in general is something that humans naturally strive for.
So other people can make you feel more determined, accomplished, or overall just better about yourself. So, spending time with someone. Think about how once you spend time with someone that you care about or that you love, and then once you spent some time with them, you definitely feel a lot better and you feel uplifted just after spending a little bit of time with someone. So it's natural for people to strive for it.
Yeah, and also if you ever accomplish something like getting high grades on a test or doing something or managing to do something that you want to do, even if it's small things, if you just tell a friend and they congratulate you on it, it makes just feel 10 times better.
Definitely. And relationships with people help you move forward in life and shape you into the person you are, because as humans we are so easily influenced by the people we are around. So if you're around a good person, you will reflect their qualities, and the same thing goes for a bad person. So it really shapes you into the person that you are, or how you interact with people and the people that you surround yourself with.
Although you guys don't know me personally, you can see this kind of thing inside in me, because there are relationships that I haven't been too great in the past, or people haven't been too great to me, and that made me into a very shy, I couldn't talk to people. And then Kira came along, and I've been growing out of my shell more and more. So I've been able to talk to people, I've been able to do things that I've wanted to do that I've never been able to do before.
And you guys have sort of seen almost the beginning of this journey on this podcast, because we did our very first podcast, I think, just under a year ago.
Yeah.
So you guys have seen how much we've grown as people, even just in that short space of time, and
you can see
continue.
You can see how much more confident we are doing this.
Definitely. We were sort of comparing one that we did recently to our very first podcast, and just seeing the differences is insane.
Yeah, even though it's been such a short time for us, or feeling such a short time.
Yeah.
Another thing that a human could strive for is adrenaline. Adrenaline is a substance released in your body that creates strong emotions of excitement, happiness, fear, or anger.
So it's actually possible for a person to get addicted to adrenaline. They are known as sensation seekers or adrenaline junkies.
So you can generally get addicted to anything,
yeah,
as long as you've had it enough and that you strive for it as much as like a person who addicted his. So you can be addicted to anything from its like different kinds of food to different kinds of people. You can be addicted to anything essentially.
Being addicted to something is just something that you strive for.
Yeah, that you basically
that
strive
you would
for.
kind of do anything to get and you need in your system. So adrenaline typically occurs when a person's fight or flight mode kicks in, generally when someone is in danger. So the fight or flight mode is when a person is put into a dangerous situation, they are given one or two options by their brain, fight or flight. So flight is referring to literally running away, and fighting is facing whatever is in danger and
standing your ground.
Yeah. There is also another thing which scientists are looking into, and that is the freeze option. It's kind of self-explanatory. You freeze.
And
Which is not the best.
It's not the best, especially when you're in danger.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being faced off by a giant bear and your fight or flight mode kicks in and then suddenly you just freeze. Like, what's going on? I'm supposed to fight or flight.
And you can't pick which one you're going to do. Your brain picks for you, but it's just the two things that happen.
Yeah, it's immediately what your brain deduces as the best course of action in that moment.
Yep. So that is what happens.
When a person feels a lot of adrenaline, they can get an adrenaline high. This is basically when they feel a lot of adrenaline at once and and in a way it can stop things such as pain. Obviously it won't stop it, but it'll alleviate it, so you don't feel it as heavily, and you can just feel so happy, so excited, so rushed, like you want to do more of what you just did.
Yeah, so common cases of like adrenaline highs are on like theme park rides such as roller coasters or drop rides. When you get that, I'm sure you guys will have experienced it at some point, where you get that rush of like happiness and excitement when you're going on the ride.
Or skydiving. You could do skydiving. You get an
but
adrenaline
I was
rush.
kind of going for something that most people will have done. I don't think skydiving is very common.
That is very true. So, however, adrenaline is not something everyone enjoys due to the experience you go through to get an adrenaline high.
Sometimes an adrenaline high can be very scary for a person, which is why you get people that really love roller coaster rides or hate them.
Yeah, because they recognize that this is their fight or flight mode kicking in, and they feel like there's danger around them.
Yeah, which a lot of the time there isn't. But that's what it is. People who design roller coasters and like theme park rides, it's their job to make your fight or flight mode kick in, but not have you actually be in danger, which is actually a really difficult task.
It is. Well, we finished around everything, like, what people strive for, but I want to ask a question. What do you think would happen if someone takes away what someone strives for? Like, no one strives for anything at all.
Nothing would happen. Well, something would happen. Basically, what I mean is that nothing in the world would get done.
But then again...
And everyone would just... I mean, it's impossible to not strive for anything.
That's what I was just about to say.
Even if you're not striving for something typically productive, I say that in air quotes because anything can be productive, but people will refer to people don't strive for something as lazy, but they're not. They're striving for relaxation or striving for something else. So it's physically impossible to not strive for anything, even if it's a very small striving for something and it's typically seen as minuscule or not important.
If through some magic power you were able to take away even the small amount of something that a person strives for, and like it's just nothing in general that they strive for, like nothing at all, then it kind of, people would just kind of become an empty shell.
Definitely, because you have no personality, no emotion, nothing if you don't strive for anything.
Because you can't feel the pleasure that you would if you strived for something.
Yeah, and it's just, you don't have any kind of sense of self if you don't strive for something. People are defined by the things they strive for.
So I'm going to say that that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do for the main question. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. Please tell us in the comments below what you think you strive for in life, and leave a like on this video.
So we're going to be moving on to our bonus question,
I
which
am
is...
very excited about this one. How did we start our channel?
Yeah, so if we're to be honest, we have tried this once before with...
we're not going to talk about this.
We're not going to fully talk about this, but...
Basically, we lost all of the recording for an entire podcast.
Yeah, but we didn't get fully through the bonus question, so we're going to kind of just like start from the beginning, which is how we met each other.
So, we met on this thing called Transition Day when we moved into secondary school. So we're in the UK, so we are in secondary school and that sort of that school system. So we met on this thing called Transition Day, which is basically when a school will have their new students come in for a day to just sort of walk around the school, see how it's like before they actually move into the school.
Me and Kira were introduced through mutual friends of ours. So
Yep.
my friend was friends with her friend, and then we just kind of met together through that.
So I met a friend from out of school from dance. Megan's friend went to her old school, and both of their parents worked at school, so they knew each other. So and then we met via them.
Yeah. So we didn't generally talk much at the beginning of our relationship. We were very much strangers. We would stick to the mutual friends that we were introduced through, but we never really talked much.
Yeah.
But the first conversation I remember Kira and me having, like, we most probably had something else before that, but the one that stayed in my mind for so long was around in year 7, when it was like quite early, I'm pretty sure.
It was definitely very early on.
So I was still in my very shy self. I couldn't very much talk to people, so I'd stick to myself at lunch. So I had a hot chocolate and a book that I was just reading all by myself, and Kira was talking to our friends. She stops her conversation, looks around and turns to me and just goes, "Megan." And I was like, and I got really surprised.
New person talking to me.
Yeah, and she goes, "Can I take a picture of you?" And I was like, "What's going on?" Because I've never been great with taking pictures of myself or having other people take pictures of me. But I didn't want to say no to her, so I just went, "Sure." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's really weird, but you look so peaceful, and I just really wanted to take a picture of you because it looked so just peaceful, and I just wanted to capture that moment."
Yeah, so I sort of was just having a conversation. I looked over, and she was sitting opposite me on like this like lunch table. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. But she was just sat there with her chocolate and her book, and she just looked so like sort of in the zone and just so peaceful. And it was incredible because she was surrounded by noise and kind of the insanity of year 7s at lunchtime, and it was sort of just this break in the entire atmosphere, and it was sort of just weird to me, so I wanted to capture a moment, and that photo is currently on my wall right behind us.
Yeah, it's on a corkboard that she printed it out. But I've always been good at like tuning out other sounds, and sometimes it's even helped me focus because I realised that I need to tune stuff out. Whereas when I'm in a quiet place, I just kind of daydream.
Yep. So another sort of thing that fermented our friendship is when we went into a lesson. So at our school we had this thing called it's called DBT. I won't say the name of it because it actually says the name of our school in it, and we don't really want to say that. But it's essentially, you just kind of talk about like people, life.
If you've ever heard of citizenship, then it's basically
or
that for younger students.
Yeah, or PSHE if you guys have done that in primary school perhaps. It's sort of that sort of thing. So it's like just learning about life.
So now, when we were getting into our first lesson of this, we during that time our friendship group was very small. It was the mutual friends we had, the two of them, and us.
Yep.
So we walked into the class, and the two of our friends were ahead of us, and they were just talking to each other. And they go and sit in the table in front of us, just like together, and we just kind of like both turned to each other, like, what do? We don't really know each other well.
Because basically, in our first like week of lessons at school, what our teachers would do is they would let us pick where we sat because they don't know us, they don't know who we'd be good with, so they just let us pick where we sit and just kind of see what goes from there. So we'd always sit close together as a 4, but I would sit with my friend and Megan would sit with hers, and it would always be like that, like in pairs. But then we walked into this lesson and they sat together, and me and Megan just sort of looked at each other because Megan came from a school where she only knew the mutual friend. And I knew quite a few people, but I wasn't really friends with them. So we sort of just looked at each other and just went, okay. So then we went and sat down together. And during sort of this lesson is when we built up so much of our friendship.
Yeah, it's the first real conversation that we had that didn't involve other people. And it just like kind of threw us like straight into our friendship. We didn't know what happened.
Yeah, it was sort of like once we started, we just couldn't stop. And I remember in like really main part of the beginning of our friendship was the game The Sims.
The Sims 4 to be exact.
Yeah. So I got The Sims during primary school before I knew Megan. We both had The Sims before we knew each other. So during the course of this lesson, I just turned to Megan and I'm like, have you ever heard of a game called The Sims 4?
And my eyes just kind of lit up. Obviously, I didn't openly say how much I was happy that she did know it, but she could kind of just see it in my face. She's always been good at reading me, if not other people, but just me in general.
Yeah, because we're both huge Sims fans, and we've actually just recently started a gaming channel called TPOG. If you guys want to have a look at that, where we started playing some Sims Rags to Riches. But Sims has just been such a big part of both of our lives, and it was an amazing thing that we sort of came together. And I'm so glad that I just happened to ask that in that moment, because I don't know where we would be without Sims.
We most probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here making this podcast for you guys. So that was definitely a big part of our relationship. So
we basically became the best of friends from there. I'd actually do this thing at lunch where I'd run away because I just want to get this time alone. And at the beginning, people would come looking for me, but they didn't generally find me. I'd show up in the next lesson, but they just after a while they just kind of gave up, just knew what I was doing because I sneaked away very well.
Yeah, it would be we looked at her, we were having a conversation, and then we'd look away, and then the next second she'd be gone.
Yeah. But Kira was the only one that didn't give up, and she came and found me, and we just started
every single lunch.
Yeah, and we just kind of continued conversations from there. So we grew to be the best of friends.
Yeah, because at lunchtime there is this place called the Year 7 area where we used to sit in Year 7, and everyone would sit there. It was pretty much the whole year group, but it was really loud and not really atmosphere that Megan enjoys. So she would eat her lunch with us, and once she was done eating, she'd just go. But then I'd find every single one of her hiding places. I'd be able to find her.
And she still knows them to today.
Yep. So whenever Megan sort of runs off, I know exactly where to find her.
The only time she can't find me is when I'm in the art room because she's not allowed in there.
Yeah, that's annoying. Because I'm not an art student.
But basically, that's how we basically met, but we should really be moving on to how we actually built our town, which is a lot shorter of a story.
Yeah. So in Year 8, we sat next to each other in maths. So we've actually sat next to each other in maths and English for all 3 years that we've been at school.
Yeah, but we sat together in maths and we were just really bored, and I'd been thinking it over for a couple of days. So and we'd obviously been such great friends at that point. We grew really fast, our friendship grew really fast, and people kind of looked down on us for that at some point.
Yeah, because we sort of left the pack at the beginning very much in Year 7, and we didn't sit in the Year 7 era. We sat outside and we communicate with people from older year groups, and we just kind of sticked as us two.
Yeah, but we were sat in this maths class together, and I just turned to her because I'd been open with her at that point, and I could just do this kind of thing because I was a very random person.
Yeah,
I still am a very random person.
We sit next to each other in English right now, and every single lesson Megan will turn to me and regurgitate a random fact she has seen.
And they're absolutely random. They can go from just different animals to different history facts, and it's just anything really. But I turn to her and I say, Kira, would you like to start a podcast with me? And she straight away, she was like, yes, I really do.
Yeah, because I'd sort of been listening to podcasts. I listened to a few different ones, but I'd sort of been thinking, this was a cool thing to do, but never really contemplated it too much because I was like, who would I do it with? I don't really know. But then Megan just turns to me in this maths class. She's like, would you like to start a podcast? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, but...
And that was where that conversation ended.
Well, for 10 minutes, then we kind of realised that we said this and didn't actually plan anything else, so we just kind of turned to each other, we need to plan something, because we can't just say this, and because if we didn't plan it, then it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, so basically what me and Megan had done from the end of Year 7, even up until now, is that every Monday we go for a hot chocolate after school, because there is a cafe right next to our school, so we'll go for hot chocolate there every single week, and sort of in that hot chocolate session we just kind of chat about random things. We talk about just life in general, but we didn't really have anything to do there, so we decided that every week we would record a podcast.
Yeah, and you can most probably hear the background of that cafe in our older videos. We don't really record there anymore because it was so loud, and we did get a copyright claim in one of our videos, and although that doesn't really matter to us now, it could in the future.
Yeah.
But that's generally not what we do this for, but we kind of don't want that to happen. We want everything to be our own.
Yep. So we just decided that day we would do a podcast. So, because it happened to be a Monday when you asked. So we sort of planned it, and that day we'd had a philosophy lesson, and it was on
Souls.
Souls.
So our
the
very
concept of souls.
So our very first video was what is a soul, and you can look back and you can find it. Actually, it's our best video so far.
Yeah, it's the very first video on our channel. It is around, I think it's exactly 6 minutes long, which is very different to our like more recent podcast. The thumbnail is interesting.
The thumbnail is very
The
interesting.
audio quality is very interesting, as we didn't have any form of mic. We just used the mic from our phone, but now we have more professional equipment that we use. But yeah, so that was how we actually started our channel, and that whole day we couldn't stop talking about it. We were like, oh, what should we call it? And we settled on this name, Two People One Question. And I'm so glad that day happened, because I've had so much come out of this channel as a whole.
It's also helped me build my confidence a lot, if I'm to be honest.
Definitely, and I'm so glad that we became friends and that we did start this channel together.
Yeah, but that concludes our podcast today.
Tell us your opinions on the subjects we've discussed today, and if you have any ideas for future questions, please tell us in the comments.
We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!